in here fighting. I mean, this is grassroots, and this is what is going on. When I say I've been in every corner of the state, you see what's going on here, literally, in every corner. And I'm begging legislators, come out with me. Come out and see. Stop going on the dog and pony tours. Come see.
Michael, the PowerPoint. Let's start.
Oh, now you can get started. I'm sorry. That's all right.
Go ahead.
What PowerPoint?
That's what we are.
Which one?
We are the last ones, I think.
We are the cleanup committee.
Guys, which PowerPoint?
Anyway,
PowerPoint?
What's the title?
it's October
28.
All right.
28th. Okay. I'm CAROLYN KNAPP, and I'm an organic dairy farmer from Bradford County, Pennsylvania. Moved up from New York City with my family, and now we're faced with this mess. It's destroyed our lives, and we talk about every day where we're going to move to. But unfortunately, there's no place to move because they're doing it everywhere.
Yep.
Okay, I'm Carol French. I lived in Bradford County all my life. I lived on a dairy farm all my life. You can find out who I am, what I've gone through in the last 3 to 4, well, about 5 years. I wrote a story for the Farm Journal. It's going to be in the November issue. So you can read, it's kind of like a diary kind of a deal. So for press for time, we're good. Just keep on moving. Next. I don't know all of those things. You just talk. All right, I'm going to talk.
You want me to move the chair?
Can you shut the lights down just a little bit? What I want you guys to know is there's 3 reasons why the farmers in Bradford County and other areas have signed leases.
CAROLYN KNAPP.
One thing is we signed leases because of the money that was offered. It was we were promised real money and royalties, but the only money that we will really actually see is in the bonus. I signed for $85. It took us 8 months to get there. $85 per acre. And what the royalties, what the farmers are really seeing are 1 to 3%. The minimum royalty act in Pennsylvania is 12.5%. We also see the landowners and what circumstance that they're in. For example, we are in tough times. Farmers are in tough times. We could use the extra cash. Also, it's the lack of knowledge. We did not know how this gas industry works. At what true cost is it after signing a lease? Okay, next, please. We didn't know the economic value of our property. What we want you to understand is you have become prudent partners with the gas company when signing a lease. We're just introducing this part because we're going to talk about it a little bit more later on. We, through the sign a lease, you're responsible for mechanics liens is what we're finding in the courthouse.
Do you want to discuss that a little bit more?
We got another one. Okay, let's just go to number 3. What I want you guys to understand is when the landman came to our house, we owned 100% of the mineral interest under our property. We didn't have a lease. What we did is we retained 12.5, we sold them 87.5%. It actually is a sale when they capture your lease. It's not a lease anymore, it's a sale. So what you have to understand is you sell 100 acres, 2,000, that's $200,000. Guess what? When my daughter got sick, I didn't even equate that she would be worth $200,000. In reality, we sold our 160 acres for $13,600. My daughter's life is priceless. Okay, what we also want to understand is the gas company sells the mineral interest to assignments. We're going to talk about that in the division order. Go ahead, Mike. This is my buddy. This is Russell Ward. He is from Kerrville, Texas. He came to my house day in and day out. He kept on telling me because I signed a lease, he has every right to be on my property. They wanted to do pipeline, and they also wanted to do seismic testing. He would not leave. I told him get off the property. I called an attorney. He says, tell him he's trespassing. So he got off. He told me, Miss Carol, you don't be like that. I'm not trespassing. He got in his car, off he went, but I intimidated him just like he intimidated me. I took a picture of his license plate. I told him, I'll find out where you live. I did. Then Chesapeake called. Their senior landman said, you can't kick anybody off because you signed a lease. We have every right to be on your property. In reality, they don't. I said, if you feel that way, you come on my property and I'll sue you for trespassing. They never did seismic testing. I do not have a pipeline on our property. Next. That you do have power. Don't roll over. This is the Scrivener well pad. This is my neighbor's. In fact, behind that tree line, our farm is down there. What I wanted you guys to understand is when they place a well pad on that property, you lose the back 10 acres by the trees. You can't access it. You can't grow hay on it. It's gone. You do not get paid for that. The only thing you get paid for is the well pad, the disturbance of the well pad. When you see the plats, they're 42 acres of disturbed land. They don't tell you about the access road, nothing else, or where they store the other, the dirt, the topsoil. You lose all of that. Anything else?
Well, when they discuss the amount of acreage lost in a well pad, it generally is the pad itself. But they make these huge embankments on the side of them that really encompass a lot more acreage than what they're telling you they're going to take away from you.
All right, we're going to go into production units. All right, here, that well, that's his well. That's that field. See how they strategize and put that right there? He loses all that land behind there. This is where the laterals are drilled out. He owns a little over 250 acres. He's not going to receive royalties on all of those acres. Go ahead. Nope, back. Keep going. Okay, mechanics liens. Like I said, when you sign a lease, you become a prudent partner with the gas company. So what that means is, when Chesapeake decided not to pay the drilling company, which some of these bills or debts are $2,000 to $196,000. We go to the courthouse and we pull these records off. So they're facts. And their attorney names the prudent partner, the landowner, the farmer that has the well, as prudent partner. So if Chesapeake does not pay that bill, the farmer is responsible for the $196,000 debt. In the state of Pennsylvania, you have a mechanics lien law. You must pay that bill. Within 2 years, you face bankruptcy. Anything else you want to say about that?
Well, did you talk oh, they have open-end mortgages
It's
now
coming
too.
next.
Okay, that's next.
Next. Oh, not yet. All right, these are production units. My neighbor is posting these production units. These are the actual laterals. What you do is you get the directional drilling logs, and you can put them on there. This is what it looks like in our area.
So those are the wells?
Some of the wells are like these little dots.
Those are units.
These here are units. These are Chesapeake units. These are the laterals that are drilled. What I want you to see is, one, they're on leased land. They're trespassing. You guys don't know about it. They're taking your gas. Also, in some areas, I don't see them there. Okay, one, there is no regulation in how to form a production unit. That's how they form them. You don't want to lease, we'll put you out of it. Some people are put in a production unit, and you will never receive royalties anyway. Anything else I'm missing on that one?
So that's how far they'll get gas.
Well, no.
That's the directional drilling log. The greens are where the laterals are going according to their directional drilling logs
Right.
that we've gotten from the
So
department.
that's where they're getting it from.
Well, yes and no, because they can frack it at the vertical point, and at the end of the drill, they can also frack out that way. And nobody knows.
There is no one checking at the DEP to see where those directions are going and if that land is in fact leased.
Yeah, you can go. Okay, what I want you to see here is this is the actual farmer's land in this yellow. They drilled right behind his farm. He had sells cows that was in his pasture. He couldn't let the cows out. Out of his 206 acres, he generates royalties off of 8 acres. This is what we need to start fighting about, is production units and how they're regulated. They're not regulated. Let's take a 1,000-acre farm. They put 1/10 of an acre in a production unit. You generate $1.20 a year. That lease is locked in forever. And then it becomes a sale. That property is sold. Anything else you want to say? Okay. Open-end mortgage. The reason why I picked this one is that's a frac operation. This farmer is a missionary out in Africa. They thought it's a wonderful thing. They still think it's a wonderful thing. They could think Carolyn and I are nuts. They probably are right. But what they don't know is the gas company now has borrowed on their property, and you can tell about the open-end.
There's several open-end mortgages going on. The other day I did one, it was for $6 billion. What they do is they're mortgaging the pad, all their fixtures on it, the pipeline, all the royalty interest underneath your land, and they actually put a lien on people's properties. And the banks really haven't decided how they're going to handle this yet, so it's become somewhat of a sticky situation when you want to try to get a mortgage or someone wants to buy your property, because some of the banks aren't even giving mortgages out on it. There's 2 banks in our area that say they'll do it, but that's because they're like this with the oil and gas industry. So that's kind of, it's just another way for them to mortgage. They're making money. They're getting an open line of credit forever on your property.
Now think about this. The gas company is mortgaging the only thing that really holds true value. That's the subsurface. Your surface can become contaminated by soil, air, and water. That surface is worth nothing. Why mortgage it? Good luck trying to borrow money on that property, Michael. Division orders, that's Carolyn.
The division order is a statement we just got the other day. You get it when you get into a unit, because one of the properties that my husband has is in a unit now, that Scribner unit, and you get a statement, you get lots of paperwork from this industry that says you have to sign this or you will not get a dime. They say that you have to attest to the division, and then they try to change the terms of your lease in this division order. Although they say on the top of it that it doesn't amend your lease, then on the bottom there's all sorts of terminology that will change your lease. So you get this division order. In Pennsylvania, you're not required to sign a division order. So I called up Chesapeake the other day and I said, I'm not signing a division order. They said, you have to, this is our requirement. I said, it is not required by law. So they told me, but Chesapeake is requiring. I said, I don't care what you're requiring, and I'm not going to sign. So we don't have to. We've established we don't have to. All you have to do is you have to check out the proper unit and the amount of the unit. But a division order tells how many acreage is in the unit and how many pieces you get of that acreage, and then it gives you a calculation, which they don't tell you how they arrived at, of your BPO units in that division. And then Statoil also sent us one too, because believe it or not, in our land we have 7 partners besides us that
And they
have
only,
interest.
at this time, these are the only ones that are listed at courthouse. I'm sure those other 2 have to be recorded. What we are finding is each gas company will send Carolyn a separate royalty check with the subtraction of the post-production and production costs.
And every company is allowed to deduct their own production costs.
And they also sell at different points. So Mitsui is selling their gas at $1.27 versus Chesapeake at $3. At the end, you add it all up, you take an average, and you minus all the post-production and production costs. That's what you come at. All right. I started talking on Facebook because we got people out of Illinois, Alabama that really want to know. I wish I knew what these leases meant. It's not that I'm promoting a lease, and no lease, like Ron said, no lease is the best lease. But I wish, in order to get these landowners on board, they should understand what to look for in the lease and then the gas company will never go for it. At least they understand what they're giving up. So, where are your royalty payments being calculated at? Is it at the wellhead? Is it at the highest point of sale? You know, can you sell it in China? They're selling at $18 MCF versus the commodity at $3 versus the hedge price. Talesman is paying at the hedge price of $6. Or, again, like I said, based at the commodity. What is your actual royalty percentage after deductions? Like I told you, they're only getting 1 to 3%. There's farmers that have, let's say, 200 acres each. Talesman's giving them almost $90,000 a month royalties. The neighbor, Chesapeake, is only getting $700 a month. It's dividing our communities, by the way. Next. This is my lease. Somebody asked about getting their lease released. Our lease, we signed it August 29th, 2006 with no extensions. August 29th, 2011, it expired. October 17th, 2011, Chesapeake did the honors of selling my mineral rights to Anadarko even though they did not own them. Okay? It took me an additional 8 months to fight them so they would release my lease and get it recorded. You have to do that. It's an encumbrance on your deed. That's how I feel. So if anybody wants to check it out, you gotta go to the Twanda Courthouse. My instrument number is up there if you want to check me out. Next month. This is my water. This is my Thanksgiving water. I took that water because I was told to put it in the refrigerator to keep it dark and cold. It froze, it blew up, that glass blew up. We share one well with our cows, and they drink that water. Oh. DEP refuses to test my water. You met my attorney that's fighting DEP today, and he is threatening DEP. Now we're dealing with the Governor's Council to see if DEP will even test our water. They want Chesapeake to test the water. What I want to tell you is this happened. Nope, get back there. You're jumping the gun. I know you're in a hurry. March 15th, 2011 is when that changed. Okay? My daughter had a fever for 3 days. She lost 10 pounds in 7 days. She had diarrhea. She had stabbing pains in her abdomen. We went to the hospital. They did blood work, and they also tested her urine. They found a high white cell count in her urine, but not in her blood. They found when they did the MRI, they found large amounts of free-floating fluid in her abdomen. They found an enlarged spleen, enlarged liver, and her right ovary was enlarged. The hospital diagnosed her for urinary tract infection. 4 days later, the hospital called back. They didn't know what was wrong with her, but she didn't have urinary tract infection, and she left. She left Pennsylvania. She moved out. Now you can see my cows. That's my cow. She's 5 years old. Her name was Jersey Girl. And I sold her. She couldn't get up after a while. She gets a little lean. We're doing everything we can. This is what happens.
She had the skin lesions too.
We all do. I do
rashes,
too.
they start getting
My cows get rashes. When they start getting really rashy, I get really rashy. It's under my chest, it's on my arms. Carolyn's husband gets it. They have the same thing. It's happening. We have 9 wells surrounding our farm. Okay, Michael. That is our sacrifice. It's our air. I don't think you can notice it as much, but it's I don't know.
Silicate dust?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's taken next to my daughter's home. My daughter lives about 500 feet from a well pad, and probably for 2 weeks they were fracking on that. And when they frack, they use silica dust, and that comes up. And she couldn't. It was the summertime. She couldn't have her windows open. She couldn't let the kids go outdoors. And you could see that all the animals get stressed from all the respiratory stuff. But they have this stuff that they use, that the industry says it's nothing more than playing sand. Well, it's not just playing sand, so.
Next. That's our road. This is my road going down here.
That's a state road.
And I can go this way. That's the Macadam Road, and after 400, 500 trucks beating on it daily.
That's our state road that used to get maybe 15, 20 cars a day. Now, during fracking, they have 300, 400 trucks come by the house.
That little yellow sign
Yeah.
says rough road. No crap. I have to put it in four-wheel drive to go see her. I'm going to tell you, Chesapeake has more authority than anybody in our area. They shut down the road for 2 weeks. No postal service. There was no...
Bus pickup for the kids. They didn't
Those
have
kids couldn't go to school for 2 weeks. Then there was a person on dialysis. The wife looked at the husband and said, "Are you ready to die? Because I cannot take you on that road to get your dialysis." That's how much authority Chesapeake has in Bradford County. Next. Are you willing to sacrifice your quality of life? One, Pennsylvania, just like New York, has high tourism. Do you think they're great? Right now we have high tourism because they want to go see all these wells. They won't drink my water. When they go to the bathroom, they won't wash their hands. But after a while, they'll get sick of it and they'll leave. I want you to think about your food. Those peanuts, Alabama, injection wells. It grows up into the plant. There's chickens, there's eggs, the vegetables in Texas, injection wells. The beef in Nebraska and Colorado. They eat the feed. Do you think it's safe? How about the wine up in New York State, and the cheese, and the grapes? What about them if they take and spread the sludge near those fields and it leaches into that? I want to put a fire under your butts to understand you're the consumers. Why aren't you asking about regulation on your food? We ask people, our marketers, for our milk, why don't you test for the chemicals from the gas companies? Well, we can't do that. They only test for E. coli and bacteria.
My certifier won't even address the issue yet. PCO will not address it. NOFA has taken a stand against it and said no fracking, but PCO won't take a stand against it.
Michael. This is on the Vinoy Well site, Franklin Township, Bradford County. Spilled 500,000 gallons of frack fluid. Then they turned around 2 weeks later, spilled 500 gallons of hydrochloric acid. This is not one tree, it was all the trees. DEP told Chesapeake, cut them down, bury them. Did you ever think, if this was maple syrup, it was in March, the sap could have flowed. Here it goes. That's on the market. You ever think about that? I want you to think about it. Next. Regulation. Well, if it is regulation, who's enforcing it? Act 13. You heard from Tracy about it. You heard from John about Act 13. It's
That's
just
probably the only regulation they will enforce.
The gas company wrote it. They wrote 27 versions of it. 23 of them were passed. This came out of 2 state representatives. There is no regulation on the royalty payments. When you signed the lease, you just said, screw me. That's what you said. Lack of enforcement on the erosion and sediment plans. We watch wells that are drilled on active springs. They drill right on them.
They're drilling in floodplains.
And you're going to see a picture of that in a minute. What you don't understand is, I don't know if you guys know this, I hate attorneys. It took a long time for Charlie to really get me to like him. I like him. What happened is, the attorneys that were practicing elder law became oil and gas lawyers overnight. There is an oil and gas lawyer in the state of Pennsylvania except for one. That's it, one. Pittsburgh. That's where he's at. Now, there's a lot of people that are poor in our area. We went to those attorneys in faith. What they did is, we will help you out, but we're going to attach our name to your royalties. Originally, it was 12.5% we were going to receive. They get 2% of it, so now you get 10.5%. That's what they charge.
And that's definitely a conflict of interest.
The lady that we knew since passed away. She got hit by a white truck. And the gas company is fighting and saying, no, it's just because he drove a white truck, he could be from the gas industry. Bull. But anyway, she went to an attorney. She didn't have the money. She did not want a pipeline on her 60 acres. The attorney says, well, you got to give me 2.whatever% of your royalties. She did. He hurried up and got the pipeline agreement signed because he wanted the gas go to market so he could receive his royalties. A conflict of interest. This is where the DEP is refusing to sample what I call changed water. That water comes out white out of my faucet. I let it set for 3 hours. It has 1/4 inch of sand at the bottom of the glass, green carpet of moss, and it gels like Jell-O. My water never gelled like Jell-O. Thanks. Crazy farmers. You really don't understand what you have until it's gone. We were assigned an assignment one time. We took pictures of things that we loved. When it started disappearing, just like this storm, it makes me excited because I wonder what's going to be damaged. And you're doing a self-assessment. And that's what I'm doing now. Come to Bradford County, go to Washington, go to Butler, do an assessment of what it was like. Pennsylvania is a beautiful place to live. It's not going to be, and I guarantee you it's not going to be that way in 5 years.
It's not where I live.
That is our farmer, the greedy farmer. I could call him greedy today, right? Okay. He sold all his cows because he has 3 wells behind him. That was 1.5 years ago. He has not received a royalty yet. Next, Michael. And that's my chickens mooning the gas company. Aren't you glad you stayed here?
I just want to add one thing, because we have been for so long trying to push the issue that our food supply is being somehow impacted, and someone needs to look at it. Because if we're not looking, we're not going to find it. Now, both Carols, their milk goes to consumers. It's to the point where Carol is begging DEP and the other Carol, who you're contracted to test, and they're not testing. Last time I saw Carol, she told me she's putting her water that looks like jellied milk into mason jars and taking it to farmers markets and asking people, do you drink milk? Does this scare you that I sell milk and this is what my cows are drinking?
I just add something. We've actually been told not to speak about it, not to talk about it.
Penn State. Penn State told us not to talk about that. Yet producers of a product, a food product, is trying to bring this out to the consumer. Do you understand that this is like committing suicide for us? We are under attack.
Now,
let me say something.
Okay.
When I was telling all you folks about my pond, the DP coming out, and they were giving me the song and dance, and Range Resources giving me a song and dance. That individual that I had from the DEP, who was taking pictures, and I was there when he was taking the pictures. And there was another rep there from the DEP taking pictures a few weeks after that. Well, no, a few months after that. That first DEP rep went to work for Range Resources. So when I went and did a file review at the DEP's office, which was like 2 years after all that happened, because everyone kept telling me to do a file review. When I went to the DEP's office in Pittsburgh, I walked in. It takes 2 weeks before you can get in there, at least, because they rifle through your file. Number one. Number two, when I got there, there were 4 manila folders sitting there, and this individual that worked for the DEP, who went to work for Range, told me, Ron, he said, first of all, he said, Ron, when I had him out at the farm, he said, your farm has been a textbook case of what not to do. And we've got a photo album in the DEP's office, like this thick. So when I got down there, because I walked with him when he was taking digital pictures, but I started taking pictures before he came because I was putting this puzzle together because I saw they weren't doing their job. I knew they were working together, the industry and the DEP. So anyhow, when I asked the individual at the DEP's office, where's the album full of photographs? We don't have an album full of photographs. So I said, well, Mark Keel said you had an album full of photographs. Mark Keel doesn't work here anymore. I said, I know where he works. I said, where's the album? Where are the photos? And we had another guy by the name of Vince Yanko. Terry went through hell with him too. These guys need locked up. Trust me. And again, nothing. But the first DEP rep, you'll love this. The first DEP rep who I had, his name was Sherman Richardson. He was a convicted murderer. He shot and killed his mom and dad, chopped them up, buried them, went to prison, got out of prison, and he was working for the DEP. And how I found that out was when he had a heart attack, the other DEP rep, Vince Yanko, was also calling on me. And that's how I met Mark Keel, because they were fill-in for him when he was sick. He told me, he said, I shouldn't tell you this, but him. Do you know the history of Sherman Richardson, alias Hatchet Jack? I'm thinking, what? Hatchet Jack. I mean, this is true. Folks, you can't dream this stuff up. I'm telling you, and they are messing with the whole ecosystem. That's fact. And we don't know what we're eating. The next time you drink a glass of milk, the next time you eat an egg, the next time you sink your teeth into a burger or steak, think about where it came from.
Can I just say one thing?
Please.
You just brought something up. One of our farmers in the area who has a hog, KO, not a CAFO, was asked by someone if he's concerned about all of the antibiotics in the meat and everything else these animals are fed. And he says, oh no, I don't eat that meat. He raises it, but he doesn't eat it. That should tell you something.
On that note, I know that we were supposed to have breakout sessions. Everything went way over in the weather, but I'm going to tell you, anyone that has any questions for anyone that's here, please use that time. Due to the weather and the running over, please, if you have not signed the registration, sign it with your email. I promise I will send you out the links, because I think that's a really important part, and unfortunately we got started late. But please stay hooked up together, share emails, write a letter to the editor, call your legislators, stay involved.
Jenny, listen.
Thank you.
Jenny, listen. Back there.
Jenny.
Jenny needs recognition for what she has done.
Where's Jenny?
Stand right back there.
Jenny, where? Where's Jenny? Jenny. I didn't know. She might have been